Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Let's let those notifications go out. I know that some of y'all are pretty consistent. You know that we are up here around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday with our live Truth Seeker podcast. And to give y'all an update, God has us doing a new thing. So it looks like there's going to be at least one, pre-recorded Truth Seeker podcast that goes up into our other hosting platform that gets distributed across multiple podcasting platforms. So you'll right. We just did episode 40 and 41 today, and so those if they're not yet on your preferred platform site, give it at least 24 to 48 hours. I don't know how long it takes for each one to pick them up, but I do know that if you wanted to visit the CHA podcast page of the website, link is down below to the website, and in the navigation menu, you'll find the rss.com link in the collection, okay? Because that way you can go you can get it from that. I think right away. But if you prefer Apple Podcasts and things like that, it might take a day or so. So God told us to go ahead, and because of that, to keep our Truth Seeker podcast upload, including the live, on Tuesday. Tuesdays are our live podcasting day and for the Truth Seeker. And so now on Thursdays is when you will get a Truth Analyzer Patreon podcast episode at some time that day. I don't listen. I can put it in order. Believe it or not, things are happening exactly in the order that I listed it today. It's like, well, okay then. So yeah, let's continue to let that go out. And as usual, let's do the, I like to give it about 5 minutes or so. I don't know how long it takes for YouTube to let y'all know that we up here. All right, so we want to go ahead and, do our normal checks. Listen, we like to make sure everything is up and up for y'all. Do our normal checks. Okay, I know some people are not going to like that title, but listen, when God revealed stuff to me, and he led me to a website, okay, of a fellow warrior who years ago, let that cat out of the bag. And I read the article and her explanation, and it jives with my spirit. Because I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, we know about spiritual energy transfer and all of that, right? So I was like, but we also know that we learn not to internalize their negative emotion. But then we wonder, how is it that our empathy is the spiritual energy conduit? Because it is. But there's more to it than that. And so we're going to dive into that, because that activity that people associate with a particular exercise we're not supposed to be doing, okay? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but let's get these formalities out of the way. It's approaching the 5-minute mark, so I'm guessing it takes about 5 minutes for you all to get notified. I don't know. It might depend on where you're located, though, too, and where the servers are and stuff like that. So I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. And so I'm going to go ahead and start, before we dive into the witchcraft part and things like that, I want to go ahead and give this to you all. We have fellow warrior asked this question, and it is a very common question we all have as to what happens to these narcissists, right? Okay, well, what happens to them? Well, God tells us many times in scripture that, excuse me, y'all, I'm trying to get centered here. Yeah, God tells us what happens to these narcissists quite often in scripture. And he led me to Leviticus, which I hadn't touched in quite some time. I've been more immersed in Proverbs, and then of course I'm in the book of Amos. Okay, I've been more immersed in the New Testament lately, but that's okay because God leads me where He needs me to be, and so He led me to this. All right, because He also tells us, okay, it's in 2 Timothy 3:13, where God tells us that the wicked, okay, we know to be the narcissists, that they are going to wax worse and worse, being deceived and doing the deceiving, meaning they're gonna perish. All right, that's it. They're just gonna, I mean, we all end up going back to dust in the physical, but they never spiritually awaken, okay? Because you got to have Jesus for that. That's the only way that's gonna happen. All right, and then He led me also to this one. All right, yeah, it's Leviticus 26, verse 38, as to what else happens to them. For whoever had this question, because we all had it. And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. In other words, they're going to take each other out. All right, and that's why Matthew 8:22 is so important for letting the dead bury their dead. Seriously, because we cannot allow ourselves. Okay, let's cover that one more time so y'all get a better understanding. Okay, and ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. I saw that play out in the physical when the female H passed away. Yes, she was a Jezebel. And so her sibling, 2 of them were Jezebel. One is a part-time. And then my own, Jezebel, all came in like vultures to help take her out. I share the details of that on our Patreon channel as well. Yep. On how that went down. And that's why God had me there as long as He did, because He needed me to see that, how they do it, how they take each other out. Because, yeah, the other demonically possessed being had to go and do what? Yeah, the demon spirit got to go somewhere, right? So off of the one who's passing away, they got to go suck their fellow demon spirits from her. All right, so let's talk about that thing we've come to know that is called your chakra, if you will. Listen, I understand that there are a lot of people who, if they believe that it's benefiting them, fine, okay? To each its own. Spiritual warriors with Christ, we cannot do that. Because we know it's demonic, and we know that that is a way to allow our energy portal to be manipulated. And that's just another way demon spirit find a way in. This is why, for anyone who has engaged in that, and you were tricked into thinking that a particular whatever part of that fire, if you will, with meditation, and then you experience more discomfort, well, that's why. Because you allowed a negative demonic force in. And it's subconscious. You're not aware of it. That's the other reason why we do not recommend hypnosis, because that takes your conscious state away. That's not a good tool for healing at all. In fact, that's very demonic. And that's the thing we learn about these sleepers out here, is that they are hypnotized. I kid you not. If y'all pay attention to those around you, and let's say they turn on that, you know what I'm talking about, the news matrix, they turn that on, and then they got tunnel vision. They are like glued to that stuff. They're being hypnotized. They don't even know it. And so that ties right into it. So we do not recommend that. I had somebody ask about whether hypnosis was useful for trauma healing. No, quite the opposite. Okay, and so playing in that chakra fire, same thing. Not beneficial at all. It is witchcraft. Yes, you. I knew you were going to do that, Chris. Because I don't speak certain words. Thank you. Yep. You nailed it. That's it. It is. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, it is a devotional practice to demon because they associate chakra with that. And you think about, yes, is the just say no to the trauma bond shirt. And so you think about how the energy portal are open. Well, it's a mental and spiritual activity, right? Okay, so you are deliberately, if you're engaging in that, you are deliberately allowing different energy portals of the body to open. You're like opening the door for demonic possession, which is what the enemy wants. And so, yeah, I mean, the demon spirits are all the negative energy. I did not know that. Thank you. So Eastern martial arts also have their origin in another word that ends in ism. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And so I know that that's going to hit some people a little wrong, but it is not a secret that that is part of the witchcraft. So I'm going to cover scripture to for anyone who needs this reminder because it's very important. Okay. And I want to say thank you, Chris Miller, for joining us over at CHA Academy. All right. Yes, I caught that. I don't know how far you've gotten in there, but I'm pretty sure you saw we got a lot of stuff in there. We've been building on that for quite some time for you all. Okay. And so we welcome all of you. Come on over there. That help y'all level up your healing and spiritual growth. We bring more stuff there. Absolutely to you all. So we're going to cover Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 through 21, because this is where God is pretty specific, okay, about what not to do. Okay, and then of course he reveals to us other things not to do, right? And then what to do. So verse 19 says, now the works of are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred. There's that word, witchcraft, hatred, variant, emulation, meaning mirroring and copying. We're not supposed to be doing that. Sure, we share good ideas, but we're not to be emulating one another in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Wrath, strife, sedition. Another way of saying seducing spirit, seduction. And then hearsays, fable, false stories, made up fantasy. And then verse 21, envyings, murders, drunkenness, reveling, and such like. That drunkenness right there he's talking about, you all, also relates to being drunk on fear. These narcissists out here are drunk on fear. I kid you not. When God revealed that to me, I was like, oh boy, wow. Because they're addicted to their adrenaline. So they remain drunk on fear. So God's talking about that too. Okay, and such like. Which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. See, that's why the enemy tricks as many as he can into engaging in every bit of that. And the witchcraft and all of it. You know, you remind me of that show. Yeah. I'm trying to recall the name of it. With the I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Also, yeah. Oh gosh, Walker, Texas Ranger. That's what you just reminded me of when you said witchcraft is taught to high-level martial arts students as the inner secret of martial art, or the occult, as it is known. There's that word cult, right? Okay. So we have to be very mindful. And so I caught on to that. Yeah, I caught on to that. Like, wait a minute. I said, why is that? That just seems like witchcraft. And it is. Absolutely. So it's like when that now ex-neighbor showed up trying to offer me a bird feather. We are not the same. Close the door. Yes, that was a Jezebel, y'all. Yeah. We're on the same page. There you go. Yep. And none of that's real, but if we've got those who are creeping unaware, who are believing that stuff is real, it's not, it's an illusion. But they got to keep their demon spirit entertained. Think about that. And so the enemy had to conjure up a bunch of stuff. Yeah, about space and all this. Yeah, we know that's not real too. Well, we know the truth about that, spacecraft and stuff like that. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. Remember when I was telling you that sine waves from the radio frequency cannot go? No, remember they have to go, right? They go this way. Or sometimes across, but right, they get pulled downward from. Why do you think cell phone towers are so high? Yeah, use your common sense. Okay, because exactly. Because the sine wave goes this way. It can't go past, it cannot leave the firmament. Nope. And so they want you to believe. Now we do have internet servers, like Apple servers that rotate and things like that. Yeah. But much lower than you think. Not in yes, not in that. So we are taught a lot of, see if I'm saying, y'all, we're taught a lot of garbage growing up. That's what elementary school, and then those of us who went to junior high, oh man, yeah. And then they turned that into middle school in many places, then high school. Those are just indoctrination camps. No. Yes, they are. Yeah. The mobile phone signals are. Yeah, but they're at these right here are at the frequency of a regular microwave. Okay? Exactly. So this is why you have the evolving, right? I don't recall what it started with, but I remember when 3G came out. I remember when 4G came out. And then, of course, now, and y'all about to make a big connection right here. Yeah, they're about approaching 2020. What went out? That's right, 5G. But that's not to scare anybody. Okay, y'all. I tell y'all on Patreon and several videos that you do not need to be afraid of it. Once we are aware, okay, it's not going to have the negative intended effect on God's chosen one. That's why we got to get this heightened awareness, which is, by the way, the topic for our episode number 41. That's right, on our RSS hosting site. Okay? Because the devil does not like us getting heightened awareness. And of course, that's too bad. Because we know that God is in full control. But yeah, those are like radio signals. But we just learn to okay, yep. Oh, they're holding one of your comments for review because you mentioned a particular group. But this is not a secret. That's why she played the role of a spiritual Indian when she knocked on my door. Same. And we're not speaking bad about anybody. It's just we know what that kind of practice is. It's called witchcraft, and we're following the word of God. Right? We're in obedience to God. So we're not going to be. Remember what he tells us also in Ephesians? Y'all, seriously. In Ephesians 4:14. Right? Yeah. What God says, once he awakens us to all that abuse, and we start learning about those pagan traditions, and we get away from them, and we realize that narcissistic abuse is part of the witchcraft on the world stage, God's telling us, again, Ephesians 4, verse 14, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of man and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Think about that. We are no longer being tossed to and fro. We are on the straight and narrow, getting God's wisdom and not letting ourselves get pulled into that stuff. Yes, my bookmark. Right, you were just speaking the truth objectively. Yeah, it's an observation of a fact, and you're not the first one that talks about that. Okay, yeah, you're not the only one who knows that. You know, we're not. So it's not a secret. It's just we know how certain groups are protected by the demonic realm, right? Okay, there you go. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. And yeah, they want, because they want to coddle them. Right? Yeah, they want to give them special treatment so they get the ism mindset. Absolutely. And so you all, however long we go today or however long we go, because there's a lot of witchcraft all around us. And we have to know what it is. We got to be aware of it and not partake in it. And trying to offer me a bird's feather is part of it. I have no idea what, and it doesn't matter. But I do know it's a part of that. And because we know that the Jezebels do engage, yeah, of course they all do. All narcissists engage in witchcraft, okay? Those demonic spirits. Because the spiritual gifts that we get from God are nothing like what the world wanted us to think. We now know that we can sense, right, when things are off in the spiritual. So we don't allow for those things to get in, because we know the spiritual energy transfer is very, very real, right? Like I said earlier, how empathy is the spiritual energy conduit. As long as we learn how to control and manage that, shut it off where necessary. That is one of the things you're going to learn in the How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers course as well. And I cover it a lot for a reason, because it's so very true. Because once we learn how to do that, and they can no longer get an emotional read on us, oh, let me know, Chris, if you started, if any of those, yeah, toxic coworkers, let me know, are they starting to get weirder? And have you figured out how to shut the empathy off yet? Because that's one of the things that, yeah, I got to share it again, because this is how God revealed it to me. I was like, how is this dude who's 20 years older than me, which I know doesn't really matter, but he's trying to make me think that I'm crushing on him, and I'm not. Because I was like, no, it's not, no, and no. he was mirroring my empathy back to me. That's why it feels like, I was like, God, it feels like high school. It's like a high school crush type feeling. And I was like, that's not normal. And I remember learning that those are warning bells. Okay, yeah, not butterflies. So I was listening to the warning and I was asking God, I was like, how is he doing that? And so when I turned to briefly discuss something work related, doing it through the eyes. So God stepped in and immediately showed me how to shut it off. And I'm here to tell you, because I was watching and I caught the reaction. Here's what he did. Okay. Because as I shut that off, he looked right. I was standing and he was sitting. Okay. So he looked away, right? As soon as I shut it off, right, he goes like that. Deer in the headlight look. I was like, gotcha. So that's how it happened. Our empathy is the spiritual energy conduit. And so when they mirror our empathy back to us, right, that is how they tricked us in the first place into getting trauma bonded to them. And I'll share with you all that there was a Jezebel in the previous environment before I finally was able to leave. Jezebel, I was getting something out of the cupboard, some food, whatever, minding my own business. What she do? She come on up. She got in front of my face, right? And she literally, because they don't know how to act when they can't get an emotional read on you, she literally kept doing this. Trying to see if she could mirror my empathy. I had it off for a reason. Because as soon as I saw her there, I saw the skeleton. And when I see that skeleton on someone who's in their early 40s, they done. They done. This is what happens when we can see in the spiritual. It's a real thing. And so you may as well say that the mirroring of our empathy is part of their witchcraft. That makes sense. Okay, yep. Okay, so they have started to gaslight and patronize, trying to get you to go on a night out with, with coworkers. Being back at school and not being treated like a fellow adult. And they apply a double standard, absolutely. They won't let you get on with your work because if they can see that the distraction is bothering you, that's why they keep doing it. Never forget that about these narcissists, y'all. Seriously. And God told me to take these suckers off while I'm doing this. So thank you for understanding, everybody. But yeah, we just have, a little extra self-care. Nothing major. Okay, nothing major. But he told me to take that off and let it breathe. Since I'm not walking around right now. But yeah, remember, if they see whatever it is that they're doing is bothering you, like, I'm keeping it real with y'all. Yeah. Because as that parasympathetic nervous system wakes up, well, I tell you, well, it's awake. I'll tell you that. It's awake. And so little pings and things are showing their ugly faces. And so that's why God also said that we are in a season of extra self-care. And things, yeah. God guides our steps. Glory be to God. And so we learned that whatever it is they're doing to try and poke and prod, we learn to not let it bother us. We got that power and authority on the inside. Remember that. Yes, we do. We got to get there, though. And so, like, our fellow warrior here is starting to notice how they are getting weirder. And they do that when we start enforcing boundaries, saying no, when they cannot get an emotional read on us. Yes, Jeremiah, that's right. Coerced compliance. Think about this, you all. Narcissism is full of, that's right, coercion. Okay? These narcissists like to coerce people into compliance, bribes, threats, any form of intimidation, that kind of thing. Yeah, we learn not to fall for those things. But that is definitely, yep, that's, See, this is why at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, we've opened up our ministry for all survivors of this type of behavior because of the abuse. Because of the simple fact that you guys need a voice too, all right? You men out here need a voice too. We understand that. And listen, if other people are catering to a specific gender, that's their doing, what floats their boat, what works for them. God told me I don't need to do that. God said we're all inclusive here in the community as well. And I know a fellow warrior who is not like 100% one gender, okay? Just know that, discernment. But we often do understand that everybody is subjected to narcissism and the abuse associated with it on a daily basis. God even tells us about the abuse. So if y'all will let me know in the chat, have you learned how to manage and control your empathy? Because that's usually when the toxic coworker, narcissist will start to act funnier or weirder, if you will. And never forget this truth too, right? What do we know about them, right? No one will move as fast as a narcissist who needs a place to live. Yeah, the now ex-neighbor, classic example. Oh yeah, we knew better. It's like not happening. No. So y'all just gotta, we keep going. That's what we gotta do. We just have to keep going forward. And so if I happen to branch off topic, y'all know why. The Holy Spirit takes the lead. But that's why we add and more now to the end of our live streams and certain videos. If y'all have not caught it, let me go get it. Oh gosh, yeah, hold on a second. Let me go grab it and put it in the chat here. Because it's answering a question that one of y'all had. Yeah, about how many narcissists are there. And so I'm going to put this in the chat because I just dropped it yesterday, I believe. Yeah. And so I want y'all to have a chance to get the full answer. Because I answered partially in the comments and told them that I was going to get a video for them. Because you got the spiritual side of that and you have the physical side of that. And so, yeah. We're going to thank you for your patience. But yeah, we learned that we cannot be engaging in that witchcraft. And I know it's taken a few minutes because I have two different browsers open. All right, so we're going to give that just a second over there. Okay. All right. And, how many narcissists are there really? And you'll hear in that video, okay, you'll hear the spiritual, okay, and you will also hear the physical. And then also, we ask the question, right? I mean, what do we know about the world stage, right? A lot of stuff made up. Numbers are made up. Yes, prices are made up. Oh my goodness. Of course they are. Okay, and so we go over here because I know that I leave. There you go. All right. And then afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and add that to the video description as well after we're done with the stream. But I wanted to go ahead and put that in there for y'all. Okay, so now I can close out the other browser. There we go. All right, because I talk about how many narcissists are there really, because it's very important to understand that the enemy always wants us to think he's bigger than he really is. And so while we have a lot of witchcraft going on out here, we also have to keep in mind how the enemy is all about appearances. Right? How the enemy is all about appearances. So, remember, we are truth seekers, right? So let's think about that for a moment. What are we seeing, right, across social media platforms, right? It's inundated with images of what's considered witchcraft, right? Over and over and over again. What does that do over time? Exactly. It makes it appear bigger than it really is. That's how these narcissists develop the eyes being bigger than their stomach. Phenomenon. Because, well, we know that dilated pupil make things appear larger than they are, and they are also a sign of predatory mode, and they are also a sign of living in fear. And so I'll share with you all that while this was doing a massive dose of healing, okay, yeah, it did. It had this eye would dilate a little bit here and there, but I'm not living in fear. That's just a result of, that's right, my iron needing to get back to normal, oxygen needing to get up there, okay, all of that, and tissues and nerves to mend, if you will. So that's just the result of that. But I only had one. I was like sitting there going, okay, this is really weird. But it's, it's done. It stopped doing that. In fact, it stopped doing that before I went to that place on this past Wednesday, right? Y'all heard that story? Okay. Yeah. Where the enemy wanted to deplete me of the nutrient that God had increased. Well, we're pretty much, and so what that did was when he depleted me of some, not enough, but some, it brought back a couple of days worth of those, because that symptom matches what they were trying to tell me I have, that I know I don't have because it doesn't exist. So, right. I was like, you see how the enemy tricks people, right? That's how he does it. Slow and subtle. Just like the narcissistic abuse. Slow and subtle. But, yeah, since then, we're now what? Almost a week later, and it's back to the way it was that morning. Yes. Glory be to God. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Anytime the enemy tries to do something to one of God's chosen ones like that, God is going to step in and be like, all right, come on. I got it. Last time I restored you at, let's say, 70 miles an hour. All right, this time it could be 80 miles an hour. All right, that's how God works. I'm just giving y'all an example to help you put it in perspective. Each time the enemy tries to set us back, God bounces us back even quicker and harder. Yeah, God's like, my child out here doing, we don't let the enemy win. A third of the world are narcs, a lot of narcs, but good to know 2/3 are not narcs and are still a majority. Okay, so you caught that. Okay, good. Right. Yeah, I know, a third of the population, whatever it is, we really don't even know, right? Because they make those numbers up. Y'all, I remember asking in undergrad, and again, I was met with blank stares, like nobody could answer this. But this went because I was in my spiritual awakening. I didn't know that's what it was yet. Okay, when I was 36, I was in undergrad. Okay. I was getting ready to graduate though too, because I was 36. Right? When did I? Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I know I was 36 when I entered the spiritual awakening. So we're going on our 10-year mark in 2024. Right? Yeah. So anyhow, I rounded up because we're close enough to 10 years, right, in the spiritual awakening. So I asked the question because of, the Matrix telling you, oh, this many people are dying, da, 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 da. I'm like, what's, hold up a second. Because I had to do a paper, okay, this is during a term, okay, I had to do a paper on, I forget the exact, but I remember it had me using, I had to use the U.S. Census Bureau number for it as a reference. And so I remember it was somewhere in the beginning of that quarter, okay, because that private school was on quarter system, like I am in this journey, whereas my master's was in semester system. So anyhow, a quarter, okay, so at the beginning of the quarter, I had to do a research thingy and use that. So I remember the numbers. Well, our quarters in undergrad were 11 weeks. So, that being said, towards the end, we had another assignment that required me. Now, during this quarter, remember, I'm entering the spiritual awakening unbeknownst to myself, okay? And so I'm noticing these things. And so I had to do another paper, which required me using data from the Census Bureau. And I noticed that the numbers rarely changed from the beginning to the end of that quarter. But yet, we're hearing, oh, these people. That's when I started to question stuff. And I remember asking a few people on campus, I said, how come the U.S. Census Bureau number rarely changed this whole quarter, but yet we've had approximately this many deaths in the U.S.? Something's not adding up. Now we know why. So we don't really know how many are on this planet. That's why in that video I tell y'all the best thing to do is just to go with the spiritual. Now, if you want to do the math and you want to see what 1/3 of what they say, 8 billion, for kicks, that's fine too. Whatever floats your boat, to give you an idea. I know some people are like that, and that's fine. But I know for myself, I don't put a whole lot of stock into it because, yeah, they make stuff up. Oh, the Bible describing the devil as the most subtle of creatures. Bingo. I want y'all to let that sink in. Let that sink in right there. Because that's the thing we know about narcissistic abuse. It's slow and subtle. Right? Over time. Yeah, it takes time for those subliminal messages to sink in that subconscious, right? It takes time. And so I'll share with you all, even though, yeah, the evildoers out here, they try to come at us really quick. And they want to repeat. Remember, subliminal messages are, yep, that's right. Okay, are negative, low vibing, and they are used to try and instill fear. Never forget, that is the number one thing the enemy needs people to keep living in, and that's fear. And so we have to learn. There you go. Now I can take that out. Because I wanted, yeah, because it is. I can't recall exactly where, but I'll find it. We'll find it. Yep. Where is described as a subtle creature. I know, I catch that. Thank y'all for hanging tight. I know Wi-Fi gets wonky sometimes, so I know some of y'all end up having to come back in because it does that. So, in the Garden of Eden story, we'll revisit that. Yeah, we'll work on that together. Okay, so yeah, I'll do some research on my end. You can do some research on your end, and if you come back tomorrow when we do our Let's Just Chat, we can dive into that. That's a very good topic to discuss because it ties right in line with the slow and subtle, right? How the serpent seduced Eve to eat the fruit. And no, we don't know what the type of fruit it was exactly. But a lot of people have been convinced that it was an apple. We really don't know. It's not specific. I remember that when God had me go back to the Word and read that. It's been a while ago, but the type of fruit that it was not described. It just says fruit from that tree. So, because of that, the slow and subtle nature of the evildoers out here, just like the story I shared with y'all, when I had to play the fool to let the fools think they're fooling me. And yeah, the enemy's trying to get in there. And I'm like, no, go away. Because when they repeat a word over and over and over again, right? That's how they do it. This is another reason why you got to be very mindful when you are scrolling on social media, y'all. Okay, Spiritual Warriors for Christ, Chosen Ones, got to be very, very careful when scrolling social media. This is another reason why these platforms want to keep people on them for subliminal messaging. Yeah, to see if they can get people to accept the ism mindset. Remember, the spiritual battle for the mind is in the tech world too. And so we learn to be mindful what we are consuming information-wise when we're scrolling and what we're reading, because what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? But we learn this. Okay, so if I come across a post, right, that clearly indicates it's trying to instill the ism mindset using certain subliminal messages, again, discernment. It's in how they use the term with deserve and entitlement. How many times have we been told over the years to call and get the benefits you deserve? Call and get the funding that you are entitled to. Those are subtle ways of getting the reprobates to accept the ism mindset. I'm speaking facts. God perked my spiritual ears up a long time ago with that stuff. Absolutely. Yep, it just says forbidden fruit. There you go. We don't know what it is. So we're not going to make any assumptions either, because we don't have the demon of assumption. That's right, we don't. And so the reason I shared those two examples with you of the subliminal messaging is because that is part of how the Matrix does it. Tons of, there's tons of subliminal messages in those commercials and things like that. Oh, the enemy knows it. Yeah. That's why he wants people glued to that thing. Because over time, that's another reason why many of us remembered that, a couple people while we were growing up, and let's say they were in there, because they were, let's just say our parents, because some of us, it's unfortunate, but that's what we ended up with, is a Jezebel. And She hit it pretty good for a while until the end there. So the thing is, it takes time for that to sink into the subconscious, right? Think about all the crises, right? Staged events. Then think about all of the, you know what I'm talking about, that part of the matrix. Try to trick people into thinking that if they continue engaging in this activity, then they're going to end up with this later in life. Really? Well, they're the ones who are going to believe it. Chosen ones don't believe that stuff because we know better now. We know that Jesus cleans everything. The enemy don't want people to understand that. Never forget, this is a big reason why that M matrix keeps people separated from Jesus. It's spiritual. All that stuff that they dish out for people to take, come on now. That's definitely going to keep a person dissociated in mind, body, and spirit and dependent on man. Because when the Holy Spirit's activated in us, chosen one, yeah, we should reconnect in mind, body, and spirit. Oh, I know that Jezebel case study tried to disconnect me in mind and body. It didn't work. Okay? No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Okay? So, yeah, God reveals these things. Oh, and it's beautiful too. So, yeah, if y'all know, I got to do a little bit of massaging my legs here and there. Okay? Not anything wrong with them. It's just getting used to the waking up. Okay? And it just, yeah, it's nice. I'm not going to deny it. I'm like, oh, there you are. Welcome back. Oh, there you are. Welcome back. Because I researched it. So for anybody who needs this, if you are needing some assistance in having your parasympathetic nervous system, activated a little bit, first thing that popped up was get a massage. There you go. But that helped to wake things up. And so that's why we did that. And we continue with our self-care. And I thank you all for your understanding and your patience. But I'm being transparent with y'all. Okay, we're on this journey together. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and act like nothing's going on with me, right? I'm not going to sit there and do that. That's what narcs. I'm sharing with our fellow warrior, whoever, that we on the mend, right? That's right. And not only that, we know it's already done. We just got to make it there, right? Yeah, glory be to God. Because we know that, yeah, God told me that. He was like, it's already done, child. It's already done. Keep going. Okay, you know what I found out about Epsom salt? I don't know if you caught that part, Chris. I found out the truth. Because I was doing that, but God had me stop. Because I used a rag to do a compress. Yeah, I know. It's just going to shock some people because it did me. Because our entire life we were believing that actually was helping. No, because I took the rag that I used as a hot compress on a spot. Okay, one evening, I hung it over my kitchen sink faucet. Overnight, that sucker stiffened. I was like, hold up a second. That explained why, after that brief event that I went to, and I was able to soak in some bath. And so I felt like, okay, we're feeling a little better, right? Because we've been convinced. Because that's a natural occurring substance, right? Or supposedly. And so I said, oh my gee. Because when I got back here from there, I got 3 soaks in. That's what I wanted to get while I was there. And I checked out a day early. I wanted to get back. I wanted to get back here. All right, y'all. I wanted to get back here with y'all. Yep, salt in the cloth. Right. Think about that. What is cloth? Right? It's cushion. What are our muscles? Cushion. Right? Think about it that way. So, okay, God revealed to me and said, honey child, it ain't got nothing to do with the salt. It's the hot water that was relaxing you. Because it takes, that's right, it can take up to 3 or 4 days for it to, exactly. I'm telling y'all, those who cause the ailment sell the cure. Or what they claim to be a cure. And so I learned that I got to get rid of that. Because when I came back here, as soon as I was standing to come on here with y'all, I was like, almost as if I hadn't soaked at all. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad to begin with. But it was like, okay. And so I had to wonder, I wondered why. So that evening when I did the hot compress, God showed me why with that rag. Because our muscle react, right? Right. Okay. You know, they expand and right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So they serve as cushion. And that, just like that rag. And so the muscles are already a little tense from the attack, right? Okay. Sure. Naturally so. It's going to be like that. And so we said, okay, just warm water, hot water, all we need. So I'll be sharing that with you all. Okay. No, it's fine. I don't mind when y'all ask questions. Yeah. Yep, the salt was stiffening the cloth. Yes, it did. So, right. It does the opposite of what it claims to do. This is something we're learning about stuff inside that matrix. And we're being more mindful with what it is we get and put in our body. A lot more mindful. Okay, do I have a shirt ad with the company logo and contact details? I will show you what I do have. And I've only got the one. I don't sell them on the website. I got it for me when I was hosting an event. But hold on, I'll get it. And yeah, I'll bring it to y'all. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to see how we're doing without those boots on. All right. And we're doing just fine. Okay. This is what I've got. This is my, yeah, you can see that's my logo. And then the information underneath, because it's got my website. So that's what I've got. It's not really a shirt ad, but, and then of course, for those who don't know, I don't know if you can see it or not, on my logo is on the back. Can you let me know if you can see that? Because it's just a transparent background of the logo on the back of these shirts. I mean, it's dark blue, so on a black shirt, it wouldn't be like as easy to see as on a gray shirt or a white shirt, but it's there. And so these shirts are basically, walking advertisements for Consulting for Heightened Awareness. And we have reached the 1 hour mark, and that's fine. Okay, you can see it. Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. So that's how we do it. All right, that's how we roll up in here. All right, everybody. And so Yeah, we don't want to allow ourselves to get tricked into participating in witchcraft. A good talking point to get folks in for new business. Huh. Yeah, and we are, we're expanding our reach as well. So I don't know if you heard it yesterday, but in the Motivational Monday thing, I believe I mentioned it. Yeah, because God has us doing a new thing. He has us taking the same marketing strategy that we're using for anybody who's interested in this. Let y'all know what we're up to. He has us taking that same marketing strategy. Even YouTube is promoting people to do this because we can no longer have clickable links to our website and other things in these short video descriptions anymore, even though you'll find some, but they're not clickable. Or at least I was told they wouldn't be. But what YouTube is allowing is for us to attach or link a longer form video that's related to the short on our channel. And so we're doing that. We actually started doing that before I got the notification from YouTube suggesting that I do that. I was laughing. I was like, dude, I've been doing that for the past couple weeks already. All right, so anyhow, yeah, so I'll take the short message from one of our longer form videos, clearly trying to drive more traffic to this channel, right? There you go. That's what it's all about. And so he had me doing the same thing because I was just doing it on YouTube Shorts and Pinterest and in the community tab, basing it on a theme for Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Well, God had me switch it up a little bit. He wants me to do the exact same thing because it is a promotional campaign for our YouTube channel. He has me doing the same thing on TikTok and Facebook in Reels. Okay. So there you go. And you're going to see. So if you see the same short message, now you know why. Because that is a promotional campaign. I typically don't like to post the exact same messages across all platforms, but when it comes to an urgent message or a promotional campaign, we do need to do that because after all, what is that? That's the 5th P, promoting. Exactly. So there you have it. So when God switches things up and has us working on projects, remember, project that God has us working on is all for His glory, not for man. And that's the wonderful thing about all of this. Like I said, we're going to stream as long as y'all want to. So ask away any questions you got. Yeah. Any questions? What have you? Yeah, whatever it is that's on your mind, bring it. Trauma healing, spiritual growth. That's what it's all about. And so now he has me switching it up. In other words, they are 2 different kind of boots. So one has more cushioning for the heel than the other one does. So he has me switch because when I went to one store, it only had one. So I had to go to a different store to get another one. And so it's slightly different, but hey, all good. Ooh, he says I don't need it that tight. Yep. All right, there we go. The chosen ones know how to take care of themselves. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because never forget something else. Like we talked about earlier in that witchcraft appearing to be, larger than it really is. Okay? That's with anything inside the matrix, of course. Anything. Because that's what the enemy loves to do, is trick people into thinking things are worse than they really are. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Okay? So, to let y'all in on for a little perspective, because the rule of thumb, the law, is they have to disclose, that's right, the truth first. Okay? In the spiritual, that's the law. God's law. They have to reveal the truth before they try to mix a lie with it. Okay? Never forget that. So, when I was told that, that's a classic example when I was told that there was no staples back there. That's the truth. But then they had to try and find something wrong and back it up with a lie. That's how come we learn, chosen one, that's how we learn to not let them get into our subconscious. Because when I was released, right, I saw the paperwork. It said acute, meaning minor. But what the enemy wants to try and do, exactly, want to try and make things that I'll go through appear worse than they really are. Because, that's right, because the enemy was hoping that by stealing some of the nutrients that we had worked on building back up, he was hoping that I would run right back to that place or another one, maybe in a panic or what have you. I'm like, no, God got this. You know, God, listen, y'all, God brings things back to our remembrance. Because, listen, we're no stranger to certain things, right? Because we went through those first two realities just like everybody else. And so many of us, yes, we did play sports. And so a little minor strain, we're no stranger to that. We're not going to make a big deal out of it. We take it one day at a time. Oh, and you know what? Yeah, God switched up my strategy 3 times yesterday. He sure did. He made me laugh. And I'm going to tell y'all something. That after executing it yesterday, yeah, it went smooth. Just like today, going smooth. That's how God does things. Because that's right, bringing things into better alignment. No, not Skechers boots. No, they're like an ace bandage boot. Right, for support. Because when I was doing all that walking, what was happening was, and I didn't even think of this, because I have high arches. So I wasn't even thinking about the fact that, okay, you know, that with each step we take, there's a bit of a shock, right, into our system. Let me show you something else that God had me. These things really, really do work, y'all. I'm not trying to do no promo. I don't remember the name of the company. I threw that package away, but y'all probably seen something like this. Okay, this is a for arch support, right? It's got a silicone rubber ball. Oh man, let me tell you. I was like, as soon as I put that on, it was like, whoa, yeah, okay, I see what's going on here. Because all the, continued walking and things like that, I didn't realize that because walking on pavement out here, and pavement is uneven and broken, right? And then if I go out to the sidewalk, it's concrete, right? And so each step is absorbing shock, right? Okay. And so when I was wearing a different pair of shoes there for a while when I was walking, it had better arch support. So I had no issues. But then God needed me to get my regular sneakers because he had to show me what I was doing with balancing. Okay. So he had me get my regular sneakers. And since I'm walking in these, okay, regular ones, they don't have the same kind of arch support that the other ones do. So what he could get me back to, yeah, see, I did. I almost tried to sell those because they're still fairly brand new. And now I understand why they didn't sell, because God said that those are your walking shoes. These are just our everyday shoes. Doesn't mean I won't ever walk in these again when I get back out there. Once that minor strain, okay, goes away. Just right there, like in the ligament area, where the high arches. So yeah. So I just happened to notice it because the parasympathetic nervous system awakened. So those are great. And it's like getting not just acupuncture, but it's like getting a massage while you walk with those. Oh yeah. And it takes the pressure off of, that's right. So now I understand better why some days, right, while walking, that would act up a little bit. Like, now I understand. See, this is how I'm getting to know my body. Yeah. Yep, arch support. That's it right there. Yes. Like a compression boot. Similar to that, yeah. So, and yes, it's only temporary. I know that. God told me that. The enemy tried to, yeah. The enemy tried to tell me that it's gonna be like that forever. I went, no, it's not. I said, God already said, listen. God already showed me it's temporary, but I had to get the stuff necessary to aid in the self-care. So there you go. And it provides a little extra cushioning and support while they get back into alignment. So you have to think about something. What I was doing, what God revealed to me, and this is going to help somebody else if you are experiencing something similar. Okay, let's say that you are recovering from something as well, right? And you notice that the strain back here, it seems to be a little bit worse than it was in the beginning. Well, what God revealed to me once I got the regular sneakers is that, on the very tip of my heel, on the very tip, but in the back, God showed me that I was overcompensating. I was putting more pressure on that part of the heel, not the whole heel itself, but the back part, to compensate for the healing of the front of the feet. Because remember, when you get dragged down by your feet, right? Okay, well, there was some things towards the top of the foot that needed to mend first. Okay, well, they're mended. So now God's like, all right, balance yourself back out. Don't put as much pressure on that part. So what I did subconsciously, look, y'all, we don't realize these things until God reveals it to us. And once we know what we did, okay, all right. And so what he revealed to me that I was doing in order to overcompensate for the mending of the heel area, I was leaning forward, putting all my weight on those ligaments right there in the front, top of the foot, in the front, and the ankle area. My feet are fine. It's just that little strain right there in the ankle area on each foot, because I was standing at the counter that he showed me while wearing these boots yesterday or the day before. Okay. And so as I was putting my makeup on, what do, right? Females, yeah, we lean in, right? Or, right? So when I was leaning in to do my makeup or whatever it is we're doing, I was shifting all my weight onto those ligaments. So then when I get out there and walk, what happened? They got a little bit sore, of course, a little bit strained. And so walking, nothing to absorb the shock. So there you go. That's what happened. Nothing major. So thank you for letting me share that with you all. And I know that can benefit somebody who may not know that about their body. That, our nervous system is very intricate, if I said that right. But it is. It's I don't want to say delicate, but in a way it is. I mean, when you think about it, so because that peripheral parasympathetic side, it's not protected by bones and tissue. That's out there. I forget the article, but I pulled it up. And it makes sense why the enemy targets that the hardest, right? Poking and prodding. Because our autonomic nervous system is automated. And so let me share this with you all. I know I'm not trying to get too personal, but I was like, this is a revelation that I was like, whoa. Because listen, we're not living in fear up in here. No, we overcame that long time ago. Doesn't mean the enemy doesn't continue to try and instill fear. Of course, that's what he likes to do, but it's not going to work. Not on chosen ones. When we're fully healed, we overcome that. And so what's going on is I'm sitting here, and because there's a bladder that's also on the mend. Now a lot of that is related to the excessive radio frequency from the previous environment. So it just had to work its way out, right? Okay. So y'all probably can figure where I'm going with this. Well, I was standing at my kitchen counter after I got done cooking a little something. Well, eating actually, and then I had a pan from lunch that I put in the sink so I could rinse it and put it in the dishwasher. Right? Okay. Oh, let me tell y'all, it's great because chosen ones, we are not dirty people. No, we are not. But remember, Jesus cleans everything, right? Sure, we sweep and mop and use. That's right. We keep things clean and as clutter-free as possible. But as human beings, we are generally not. Yeah, we're not dirty like that. We don't make messes like toddlers in adult bodies who are more obsessed with external cleanliness than internal. Let that sink in. Okay? They are more obsessed out there in the matrix with external cleanliness. God focused on the internal. We focused on the internal cleanliness. Are we clean on the inside? Remember, in Psalm, right? 51:10, create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. All right, then. There you go. Beautiful words from God. So anyway, I'm standing at my sink, and we're not living in fear or anything, but remember something. We have a nervous system that is, it is awake. It's just little by little, God's revealing, it feels almost as if it's still waking up. God says it's already awake. I got to learn how to stop saying it's waking up because it's already awake. Because if it wasn't already awake, I would not be feeling this, okay, in the ankle area. Just so you know. All right. So I'm standing there. I put the pan in the sink and, just went back over to clean up from what I was eating. And the pan, it made a noise. It dropped. And so how we know that nervous system, it didn't scare me. No. But it startled my nervous system. And so it jerk. And so when the shoulder did the jerk, the bladder let go. So we're protected. All right. And I went, oh my gosh. Yeah, because that means that's how the nervous system is programmed to associate certain body movements with other biological function. I went, wow, that's a pretty cool discovery right there. Yeah. It sure was. And it makes sense. Because I was like, oh. Yeah, so I was like, that didn't scare me. And God's like, I know, honey child, but this is how interconnected your nervous system is. And the enemy knows this. Right? So this is why the autonomic nervous system, okay, that was the result of that. It was automatic. Right. It was automatic. That nervous system associated that sound of the metal clinging, if you will, and the jerking of the shoulder, it associated that with fear. And so, and I was like, well then, okay. Interesting discovery. So I'm sure there's more to that than meet the eye as well. Yep. And if y'all got a stomach strong enough for it, I will share it with you. Because it's all part of getting that deeper knowledge, you know, about how God makes us, how so strategic He is, and how He made us, and crafted and molded us, and how He designed our nervous system and all of that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're getting lots of spam calls. Of course we are. So there you go. Share a little story with y'all. Why not? Because it's just, listen, it's part of being authentic. And yes, I'm not trying to be up here talking about myself. I'm just sharing things with you all that God is revealing to me about this process, because it's going to help somebody else who may have gone through the same thing. We need to remember that. So for anybody who's like, why is she sharing this stuff? Because it's going to come across someone else who may have also been, had their drink spiked and been dragged down some stairs and going through a similar recovery process. It's going to help them understand better why these things are happening the way they're happening. Okay? That's what it's for, educational purposes. That's right, educational purposes. And to fill you in on where I'm at on this journey. I like to keep y'all updated. Okay? Yeah. That's what it's all about. In this community, we're not trying to get personal like that. It's just giving you information that can probably help you anyway, even if you hadn't gone through something like that, or you went through something similar and experienced some similar things like that, help you understand it better. See, the more we understand, that's right, then we know, oh, for example, when God revealed to me how I was putting too much weight on those ligaments, now we're able to be more mindful when standing at that counter and being intentional with not doing that and keeping keeping the pressure point balanced deliberately. So that's why. All right, everybody. So I know we actually went on for a whole hour and a half almost, which is fine. Like I said, we get on here with you all as long as you are participating and you are getting the value. And, once we finish the message, wherever the conversation goes, I know that's more for the Let's Just Chat, but it applies to the podcast, okay, as well, the live stream, period. Yes. But we are going to wrap it up there. All right, everybody. So there you go. Remember all the links to the website, the academy, Patreon channel, everything all in the video description below for quicker access. So as always, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker Podcast. streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance. That's right, sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.